Good evening. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. It's my pleasure to introduce the speaker, but first and foremost, I am Naoshi Higgins, the Alumni Coordinator for Montverde Academy. I'm so delighted that we were able to have an alumni launch this event because it becomes a full circle moment for us. So we are just so happy that our outreach has worked so well with our Alumni Association, and we've gotten many to come back and want to support our program. So I'm looking forward to even more alumni coming and helping us with events and volunteering. We're also launching our new mentorship program, and we need many alumni to come and make that a success so our students can benefit from all your hard work, from your experience in college, the workplace, and of course, to explain life at Montverde as you knew it and how it is compared to what it is today. Christina is going to touch on a little bit about that today, and I'm just going to read her bio quickly. Christina is a 2005 Montverde Academy graduate. She studied broadcast journalism at Florida Atlantic University and became a video editor before moving into project management. For more than 10 years, she has worked in web development. Her current company builds WordPress sites for clients such as Boston.com, Publix, Salesforce, and Credit Karma. So Christina also has two children at Montverde, Sophia and Gabby, and she's a loving mother as well, on top of all of the other stuff that she does for her company. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Christina up to the stage, and she can tell you a lot more about what she does. Please ask questions. We are in a wonderful environment where we want to learn and interact, so when we're done, keep your questions, put some questions down so that we can all benefit from this experience. Thank you. Enjoy, Christina.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for so many of you joining me today. This is amazing. Thank you. All right, so like Naoshi said, my name is Christina Siegler. I graduated in 2005 from Montverde Academy. So first, I want to show you what my graduating class looked like. As you can tell, we were a gigantic class. There were like 30-something of us, so as you can tell, things have changed a lot in the days of Montverde Academy. So this is my graduating class. So what was Montverde like for me in 2005? So a couple things to note. Computers, the only computer class that I had was typing. That was literally it. I took a couple semesters of typing, so that was the extent of it. We were required to have a laptop, but all we did on the laptops was our assignments. Everything else was done in a textbook. Like when you walked into the student center, there was a little room that was just full of textbooks, and that's what we used. We also used chalkboards. Now this is making me sound very old, but chalkboards were a thing before the smart boards you guys have now. And back in the day when you got in trouble and you had to do hours, I would sit in the back and clap erasers. Like that was a way to work off hours. Camera phones were just coming out. This wasn't a thing. Like if you took a picture with your camera, you would not go and print it. Like it was horrible quality. And the iPhone didn't even come out until 2007, so when I was in college. So this is kind of painting the picture of what things were like back then. In terms of social media, so we had something called Myspace. I don't know if any of you kids down here know what Myspace is, but it was before Facebook. I am told, though, that Facebook is for old people now, so I use Facebook, so I guess that means I'm an old person. But Facebook didn't come out until I was in college, and when you signed up for Facebook, you had to have an actual college email address, and your parents couldn't sign up, so it was just for college students. So that's what social media was like, too. So not a lot going on in terms of technology back then, just to give you a better idea of what it was like. All right, so what is innovation? So this is a really big buzzword that you hear a lot. What does it really mean? So dictionary.com says that innovation can refer to something new, such as an invention, or the practice of developing and introducing new things. It also said innovation is often a new product, but it can also be a new way of doing something, or even a new way of thinking. Innovation is most commonly associated with business, technology, but it happens in any field where people introduce change, including the arts, medicine, politics, cooking, language, even philosophy and religion. So innovation is a really big word, and it can touch really all aspects of your life. So I sent a message to my coworkers, and I said, hey everyone, what does innovation mean to you? And I have a couple quotes here from some of my coworkers. So the first one here is Jacob. He is a senior front-end engineer and lives in Washington State. He said, innovation means having the agency and freedom to imagine a different system or process, to experiment, to try something new, to fail, to iterate, and evolve. So I really like this one because this one talks about failure, right? So you can try to do something innovative. You might fail, but the next person who picks it up might be able to complete whatever it is that you started. So that's a really big one. The next one is from Alex. He is a senior front-end engineer, and he actually lives in Bulgaria. Alex said, you never know when it might inspire the next innovator. Therefore, to innovate, you must not be afraid of what ifs and just go for it. The last one, Leia, she is our visual design director. She also lives in Washington State. She said, innovation to me doesn't mean something dramatically new or wow. To me, it's ways one can improve others and themselves in a way that is replicable and has high impact for a particular need. So I really like that one because it talks about being replicable for someone that has a particular need. So some of the innovations I'm going to speak to are things that I use in my everyday life. I had a need, and I'm using these tools to help me. So this is a really good one in terms of replicating, fixing an issue that someone's having, and making it something everyone can use. All right, so first I'm going to go into a little bit about 10up. So 10up is the company I work for. We are a full stack agency, and we focus on WordPress sites, and I'll get back to what that means in a second. So this is the company. We all are fully distributed, which means we don't have any office location. Everyone works from home remote. So 10up is a full-service digital agency with a mission to make better web with finely crafted websites and tools that help our clients succeed online. So this is the company. This was actually taken before COVID. We used to have a yearly summit at a different location across the globe, and we actually happened to do it at Disney before COVID happened. So this is a picture of the company. So we are serving Fortune 500 companies, influential content publishers, and important startups around the world. And like I said, we are an agency with deep expertise in strategy, design, and engineering. Our team of 300 and more is big enough to conquer any problem, but small enough to care. So something about the agency. So like it says here, we have expertise in strategy, design, and engineering. So what does that mean? So we do build websites, and we have a client that comes to us and they say, hey, we want to redesign our website. So we start from the beginning all the way to launch and maintaining the website. So they come to us and they say, we want more users on our website. We want more people to click on our ads. These are just some examples of what people want when it comes to their website. So we start at the beginning in discovery. It's a very lengthy process where we sit with them. We talk about what it is they're looking for. We come up with new ideas. Then we go into UX and design, which is where we're designing what the site's going to look like. Then we go into the build of the site. So this is when our front-end and back-end engineers actually build whatever was approved in the designs. Then we go into QA. So we have a full quality assurance team that does testing of the sites in different browsers. And then the client looks at it, they approve it, we go live. So it's a pretty long process. It could be really anywhere from 3 months for a very small project to 9 months to a year or higher, depending on how much we're doing for them. So these are a couple of our clients. You'll see some pretty big names here: Google, Dropbox, Uber, Nobel Prize. So we work with some very big companies. So like I mentioned, most of our sites are built on WordPress. WordPress is a CMS, which stands for Content Management System. So essentially when you go onto a website, right, you see the content, which is what we call the front end. Then there are people that work for the company that add in the content. They add images, text, and whatever it is into the back end of the site. So that's essentially what the CMS is. That's where you enter in all the content for the website. So WordPress actually makes up 43% of all the sites that are on the web. So if you think about all of the millions of websites that are on the web, 43% of those are WordPress websites. So just to give you an idea of how large this is. All right, so what sort of innovations affect my everyday life? So like Nayoshi mentioned, I am a project manager. So my job is to essentially make sure that everyone is doing what they're doing on time and within a specific budget. So that's really what my job is. So one of the things that has been really big since COVID is workplace flexibility. So like I mentioned, 10up is an agency that is fully remote, so none of us go into an office. We never have for the whole life of the company, which is 11 years old. Everyone has been online. So companies, because of COVID, quickly realized, okay, we can't go into the office, what are we gonna do? And they all pivoted to online, which actually worked really well. And you can tell a lot of people no longer have to commute. Some people commute 1 hour, 2 hours a day to get to the office. Now they can walk right into their office and in their home and start working right away. So we use a lot of tools like mentioned here, Slack, which is just like a messaging service, and then Zoom, which I'm sure all of you are aware of now again because of COVID, which is just a way to video conference with others. So we quickly realized, because again of COVID, that we are able to do our jobs from home. A lot of companies are still to this day allowing people to work from home. Some are going more hybrid, where you have to go into the office half the time and the other time you can work online. But a lot of companies now have actually went full remote. So that was a big way, something in an innovation like Zoom that allowed all of us to change the way we work every day. All right, so the next one is online collaboration. It's kind of hard to see the screenshot, but there are some really amazing tools where you can track any task that you need to do. So at 10up, we use a tool called Jira and Teamwork. Essentially, it is you put a task on a list and you can kind of move it through what are called swim lanes, which are kind of hard to see here. But essentially, the engineer starts with the ticket in a column that says to do. When they start it, it moves into in progress, and it kind of just moves through the workflow of that ticket. There are some free tools like Trello, which I highly recommend. When I was in high school, I would have loved this tool. It's just a way to track any task that you have to do. So if you have a assignment with a group of people, you can add all of your tasks into Trello, which again is free, and you can assign it to whoever needs to do the actual work. So another way to kind of keep track of things when you're not in an office space together. Since we are an agency, we have to log all of our time, just like a lawyer. Every hour we work on a client is billable to the client. So we use a tool called Harvest Time Tracking, which allows us to track our time, and in real time, our manager can look and see what it is that we're working on, and get a sense at the end of the day, okay, like how much time was logged to this client, what all did we do? So another way to just kind of track things in real time. Another tool we use is called Miro. So this is essentially a whiteboard, but online. So think about when you're in a room with everyone and you're coming up with ideas and you're putting sticky notes on the board. This is exactly that, but online. So it's a way for all of us to work through any kind of strategy mapping, any time of team collaboration we can do within this tool. And another one I have here is a testing tool that we use. So this is called Browser Stack. Back when I first started working at an agency, we literally had a closet that had PCs, Macs, all these different older phones, and our QA people had to sit in this room and grab different devices and test it one by one. Now we have a tool like Browser Stack where you could test in any browser, any phone, in the click of a button. You just switch whatever device you want to use. So another way for us to streamline what we were doing before that used to take hours can now essentially take minutes just by changing it on the website. All right, so then I wanted to talk a little bit about innovations in web development. So first I want to show you what ESPN.com looked like in 2005, that's what's on the left, and now what ESPN looks like today, which is on the right. So you can tell not a lot has changed in terms of the content that people are looking at, but design has drastically changed since then. And then this is the Montverde website. So on the left-hand side was what montverde.org looked like in 2005 when I was a senior. And on the right-hand side is what the website looks like today. So again, another example of how things have changed over the years. And I actually used a website called Wayback Machine, and you can put any website you want into there, and you can see what it looked like from the day it launched the first time to now. So it's a really fun way to kind of see the evolution of a website. But another thing that we have now is called heat mapping. So it's a thing we can add to our website, and we can see kind of where a user is touching on the site, what they're clicking on, what their cursor is staying on for a very long time. And it's a really interesting way to see, okay, what's working on our website, what's not working, and we learn a lot from that. So now there are a lot of easy to use and very cheap options. So back in the day, you had to hire a company like mine where you would spend thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars on a website. Now we have a lot of options like WordPress, we have Wix, Squarespace, Shopify that are free or very low cost, and you can build sites by yourself using a couple clicks of a button. It's really, really impressive to see like what you can do with a very little budget. So WordPress itself has come a very long way. It's now easier to use and it's more flexible for those without a technical background. We have components called blocks now. It's something that's been released in the last couple of years where you can drag and drop things very easily and move your site around. And now you also have the ability to add functionality with things called plugins. So plugins can be free or paid. Say, for example, you want to add a Twitter feed to your site. You download a plugin that's probably free. You just put in the Twitter handle, and just like that, the feed self-populates. So there's a lot of technologies now that are free to use or very, very cheap. So at 10up, we actually did work with the White House. So the day President Biden was inaugurated, we had to launch a new website. So the new website that we worked on provides an intuitive editorial experience and empowers the communication team to publish information quickly and effectively. So before, when an editor, a site editor, had to log onto the site, they had to add content and images and kind of preview it before they actually pushed it live because they had no idea what it looked like. And now it's improved by bounds because they can edit the content and see on the back end exactly what it's going to look like on the front end. So now the White House communications team can see exactly what content will look like as it's created within the WordPress editor. So there's no more guessing. And if you could click on the video, please. Thank you. Yep, and just hit play. So this is actually what the back end of that WordPress site looks like. So again, the back end is what the editor sees, and the front end is what you as the user sees. But you'll see here the editor is just quickly adding in content. They're adding in some links. And again, before this used to look very static and antiquated, and now you can see exactly what the front end is going to look like and how quickly they can add things in. So they're adding in a link, a couple different links here. Now you'll see them adding in an image. And then you can quickly also edit the image orientation. So maybe you want the face on the other side or the text on the other side. Literally in a click of a button, you'll see all that content moving. And then here again, you'll see some image uploading. And you can reorder the content too, just dragging and dropping it. And over here, they're adding in some more content. Easy to copy and paste the content as well, and just quickly adding in links. And then another image on this side. And just like that, you'll see how quick it can be to literally create a page on your website. Cool, if you could go back to the slide, please. Thank you. So the big question is, what is to come? So being in the technology space is super exciting. I can't wait to see what new technologies come out, but even more for the Montverde students who now have an opportunity with something like the Innovation Center. Like I said before, I didn't really have much. I had a typing class, and I was able to make a life and a career in the technology space. So it'll be so interesting to see what the students can do with all of these amazing opportunities. I heard Ms. Long talk the other day about how virtual reality, AR headsets, these carpets where the kindergartners can see animals in front of them. Like, it's amazing what our students and what our children have now. So it'll be really interesting to see what they can do with that. So the only thing I want to leave you with is don't forget to try something new. I think the biggest thing I took away by putting this together was that try something even if you fail, and remember that someone next behind you, maybe in a couple years, maybe in a couple months, can make something amazing just on something you tried yourself. So that was it. Thank you for joining. Does anyone have any questions? I know there's so many of you, so I'll try to get to everyone. Does anyone have any questions? Yes?
How did you know that you wanted to go into what you are in now?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Innovation back then?
Yeah. So the question was, how did I decide to go into this field? So I actually started with broadcast journalism. That's what I went to school for. I wanted to be a news anchor, and then I quickly realized when I was in college, okay, there's not a lot of money in this field. Like, where else can I go? So I started in video editing. And I worked for a company that was also an agency, and I edited football content. And I was sitting at my desk one day, and a woman came up to me and she's like, hey, I like the way you write notes. You look very organized. Would you be interested in being a project manager? I was like, is it a pay raise? And she was like, yes. So I was like, cool. So that's really how I decided. I mean, I grew up, my mom was also a project manager as well. So I grew up being a very organized person. Like, project management basically is organization. But then once I got into it, I quickly realized how much I loved it, and I've been doing that ever since. But it's technology. I mean, there's so many different avenues you can take, but web development specifically, there are so many jobs out there for engineers, designers, project manager, things like that. They're everywhere, and a lot of companies, again, are remote. So it's definitely a field I recommend getting into. It's a lot of fun, and it's different every single day. So, yes?
So you have some amazing clients that you work for, but when you're trying to sell a client to a company, what do you bring to the table that no other company has? Because there's so many web companies out there and things that your company does.
Yeah, great question. So he's asking, why would someone go with the company I work for, especially since I showed how easy it is to build it yourself. I think the thing that my company that I work for provides is the strategy and the taking data on, okay, how many people are going to your website? How long are they staying on your website for? How do you want to make more money? Do you want to monetize on ads? So there's so many different things that takes a lot of discovery and conversations. And the team that I work with are amazing people that have been in the industry for a very long time. So I think it's really all about the people, to be totally honest. Like, once we get a client in with us and we're selling them on our process and our people, like, people really gravitate to the people that we work with. But also the client list that we have also makes it very easy to sell to certain clients because we've worked with their competitor or someone else in the space. So I'd say that's kind of the biggest reason, is once they get to know us as a company and the people, I think it really differentiates us from other companies. Yes?
You talked a lot about working remotely and the advantages of working remotely. We tried it, the whole remote thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of us did not like it.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, pros and cons with working, because obviously a lot of industries are going that way. I have a son and daughter who both work remotely.
Yeah.
Pros and cons that you've seen working remotely.
Yeah, so the question is pros and cons in terms of working remote. So it's not for everyone. There's a lot of people that like to be at the water cooler and hang out and go out to lunch and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I think the pro, for me at least, is being able to have a very flexible schedule. So I'm able to go to things like the Parent Association meetings on Friday because I move my meetings around and I don't have to commute and sit in an office. So the pro for me is definitely being able to have flexibility. A lot of companies offer that now as well. They understand that people have to drive their kids to school. They understand kids are going to be sick, and they don't mind if your kid's sitting in the background. I had a call a couple weeks ago where my youngest Sophia was sick, and I was sitting on a call and her feet were dangling next to me like this. And it's amazing what you can do when there's a kid sitting on top of you. But I think honestly it's the flexibility that it allows for you. Definitely, you don't have to drive. I used to have a commute of like 45 minutes to an hour one way, which was just a waste of time. So now it's really nice I just have to walk downstairs and my office is right there. And it makes my life a lot easier. And it makes me enjoy my job a lot more, having that time. Anyone else?
Innovation Center group. Do you have questions? No? Nothing about her career?
Maybe later.
One-on-one, right?
Well, thank you very much for joining, and I hope to see you all at the next speaker series. I think the other speaker's back there, right? He's right there. Yes, he is. Yep, so please join us next time, and thank you very much for your time. Have a good night.
Great, thank you. All right, so thank you, Christina, for an amazing talk tonight. Christina will be available in the lobby if you'd like to speak with her more in depth about her career or the meaning of innovation in her workspace. Naoshi and I will also be available if you'd like to speak with us about alumni involvement here at school, and I'll be present about your questions about the Innovation Center or upcoming speech content. The series continues on November 15th with Scott Robbins, MVA parent and hotel restaurant entrepreneur who currently leads Margaritaville Resort in Kissimmee. On February 24th at 6:30 p.m., we feature Bennett Newsom, esports expert from Full Sail University and MVA's newest partner, who will discuss the professional opportunities and innovations occurring in esports in general and how it's evolved into the titan of a business. The series will round out in late March, exact time to be determined, with a TED-Ed style event with multiple speakers, and will include our 2 seniors from the esports program featuring their innovative Apex projects. We look forward to seeing you at our upcoming events. Thank you and good night.